my cute little document.
So Tommy, we have what you drew up. We have it in Excel right now.
Oh,
so if you want to open that.
Excel.
Yeah,
okay.
so I sent a link in our chat, in our DMs, and it's the tab Focus 3 3.0.
Oh shit.
There we go.
It's at the bottom there, Focus Tree Mockup 3.0. And you might have to zoom out.
Right. I call you Robe instead. This kind of saves me saying
out?
Roblox Fanboy 86.
Robe. Or
Or
Roblox
Rob.
works.
Or Rob.
It's the fifth tab, there you go.
What?
So just zoom out and you should see everything, Tommy.
Anyway, invite sent to you. And then once you've accepted that, I will...
Okay, that's the plan of the focus tree. Okay, just on the side, I'm opening the other thing so chat understands that more, because chat is retarded as fuck, including me.
Rip chat.
Focus concept. There it is. There it is. Okay, chat, what we're doing now, we are once a week meeting to talk about the 101 mod so we can actually make Hoi for Esports real and work on the Hoi for International 23. That's what we're doing. We're here with the devs. We're here with the boys. Beyond, Danger, Loon, Nave, and Roblox Fanboy. Apparently, Roblox Fanboy is now inside the team.
One of our new devs, yes.
Roblox Fanboy, man.
He's
He's
our
going to
new
be
Slay
specifically
helper.
working on national focuses will be his specialty. So
Oh,
after this
shit.
meeting, we're going to put him to work.
You will work, boy.
So, just to make a little conclusion of last week's meeting, my dear chat, we have talked about what the focus tree should look like in this competitive esports-based 101 mod. We talked about what the skeleton should be, and I think we all agreed on a basic start like this: a military tree, an air tree, and an economy tree. We looked deeper into the economy tree and even finished the skeleton, where you have an aggressive build, balanced build, and defensive build, where, for example, the aggressive build only gets access to these focuses, defense only this, balance has access to the middle ones. We wrote down some stuff that should be included, and that's where we kind of start today. Let's listen to the boys for a sec and see what they have to say about what
Do you want to
happened.
kick it off? You
Huh?
want to kick it off, kind of explain the tree and like what has access to what as you go down?
Yes, sir.
Yes, of course. So after the discussion last week, Danger and I have developed this industry focus tree. It's separated into 3 parts: aggressive, flexible, and the long-term build-up industry on the far right. The logic here is that the aggressive industry basically throws away any type of long-term development. It goes heavily into build-up of military equipment. So that is why you get 5 mils per focus, and there, right of the military industry, you have also labor. So just to put this into view, you have the military industry, balanced industry, and civilian industry that are only available to the types of industries you choose. But then you also have the extra labor and production. These are the modifier-based focuses, which are available for aggressive. It's for the labor is for aggressive and flexible, and the production is also for flexible and the long term.
Yeah.
Now, the logic here is that for the if you look at the far right, you get 15 civs per focus. We did the calculations, and 15 civs should be able to build 1 military factory in about 27 days. Now, as you can see, you also get 25% construction speed. This might seem as
25?
quite 25% construction speed per focus. This might seem as
I don't. Oh, there. Sorry. I saw it. Yeah.
yeah, on the far right. So this might seem as an overkill. However, if you stack it up to 100%, it changes the construction speed from 27 days per mil to about 19, which isn't that terrible.
19.
If you do the 19 days,
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
per mil for 15. Yeah. So along with the build-up industry, you also get the opportunity to do the production focus, which gives you 10% efficiency base and 10% efficiency cap, which will basically make your starting mills stronger than they would be for the aggressive industry. However, you will not have the early military production with which you could get rushed down if your opponent went for the aggressive
That is very clever. I always want to explain a bit for chat, because chat is not so, you know. What we're doing here is, this is a more industry balanced build, chat, right? So it's efficiency based on cap. So what happens is, your production of a product like a gun slowly comes in with these stats. This is actually very genius. You don't get a straight factory output, which instantly gives you more power on producing a gun. Like this produces a gun instantly faster, but this will produce the gun over long term more, if everyone can follow. I just always want to explain it for the Muppets.
Yes.
I'm just wondering if we are doing. So I think we were thinking about doing timed ideas as well. Just wondering what people's thoughts are on that. Like, I think we were thinking about, particularly for the early ones, having say, reduced cost of supply hubs for 14 days or whatever.
Yeah, we didn't find like a specific use case for it, but we were interested in it for sure.
One question I obviously...
I'm not sure.
What? Oh, sorry, we're still talking. Sorry.
In regards to the timed ideas, I think it would be just simpler to make it long, like over the entirety of the game, that the idea works, because the game might be moving, well, let's say in blue's favor, in red's favor, and the necessity to build supply hubs might be constant, right? And so if you get if you get like 70-day idea which allows you to build supply hubs, well, you will build them, let's say in the desert, but that's it. Well, if you have
it kind of locks you in.
It kind of locks you in, and if you have the idea for the entirety of the game, you can. There are more builds you can do with it, right? Basically.
One thing that obviously jumps into the eye is that people might think the middle tree is OP because you get access to the free in the middle, aka also factory output and efficiency base. What do you guys feel about that balance?
So I'll clear something up for you. Labor and production, each time you go down, are mutually exclusive. So you can only have labor, but not production. But you can get labor too, but then you can't have production too. Like you can switch between them each time you go down. You can't have both.
Nice. That's genius.
I thought always has that choice.
I thought, because I'm always so unprepared, I thought we're gonna build that tree today, but you guys did an amazing job of it. This looks amazing. It looks like something that is ready to be tested. Tested by players, see what works well. That's perfect. Is it in the mod yet?
No, this is drawn up so that Blue could, or whoever can make this as fast as possible. So this is like a next step. Okay, so are we happy with production? Is there any more points we want to talk about in the industry focus, or we can move on?
I would just like to point out one more thing, and that's that we have also included the equipment capture ratio to the military industry side. It is 3% per focus, so it will amount to 12% overall once finishing the focus tree, which can lead to some interesting builds, especially if you use maintenance, which can scale up to another 15 or 20%, so maybe around 30% overall equipment.
This is fun, man.
Which will be certainly interesting to see in the game later on. But
yeah. Chat, if you guys ever... This is a community thing. If anyone has any questions or sees something that feels weird, always tell us. The version doesn't have Navy. And one thing that will to be added is, though, it's important that when you get any of these factories, it adds the building slots too. That's always important.
Yes,
it's just
absolutely.
Thing, yeah. But yeah,
we've got big plans for Navy, but that's much later Navy stuff.
Yeah. The point is, chat, to get a basic mod out, and then we can work on that mod. We can evolve Navy. We can have classes like heroes in League of Legends, for example. You can choose South Africa. You can choose Germany, whatever. But right now, let's get a base going. Well, the industry tree looks great. I don't know what to tell you. It looks like something that is very...
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, it looks like it's ready for testing. The question is obviously, is it balanced? But that will be answered later after in the testing phase, yeah.
Okay. So that seems like if no one has anything else, I'll kind of leave a last window open. We can move on to army focuses.
Army focuses. Okay. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Shit. Let's
so
see what
this
I got
is a first pass. It's a little different. I tried to include our new change to have stockpiles be given instead of just technologies to kind of speed things up. You'll notice just a small detail I want to call out. I have a couple examples in the doctrines of where we could give certain bits of equipment that fit the doctrines. So example, mass assault, getting infantry equipment and artillery. Just an idea for now. I marked it in gray to show its temp. It's not final or anything. And then to call out for the light tanks or medium tanks or heavy tanks, you receive 1938 stockpile, but you unlock 1940 technology. So you essentially, the idea is, when you select this, your country had this prepared for the war going in, and you are now, like, you can now have early production of the better models starting as you've selected, if that makes sense. So it's not completely broken, like you don't just get a heavy 2, like, because of course it's very strong, right? We give you heavy 1s and you can start building your heavy 2s. That's the idea. So I'll let you go over it, Tommy, or if anybody wants to talk about certain things, go for it.
Let's go for it real quick. Obviously, the beginning of an army focus tier will be what doctrine you want to choose. Now, chat, for someone that doesn't know the game very well, it looks like, in Grand Battle Can you get 4 doctrines, but in Superior Fireboard just 3? Why? Because of balance reasons. Something like Grand Battle Plan is a bit weaker. For example, in the Speed 5 tournament, we saw everybody choosing Superior Fireboard at the end of a more soft attack, and that's why very intelligent people have done little bonuses. For example, Grand Battle Plan looks like it gets more, but that balances it more. And obviously, the beautiful thing, if you think about mathematics and spreadsheets, is that once you go to testing, you can always just switch mathematics. You can make this number lower or higher, and that's where we can start getting into a testing phase. After that, we get into infantry, which probably will give infantry equipment, or what do you think?
Yeah, so I actually, there's a couple holes in this still, right? So yeah. I stubbed that in. I didn't know exactly what to put yet, so I just left it empty for now.
Yeah.
And one important thing with this 50 military tree is the question if the type of build that the person will do will be tied to the doctrine, or if it should be more vague, as in you pick a focus that would be like the best offense is a good defense, or like
I feel like it should be kind of
very
open,
kind
right?
of offensive. Yes. Yeah. So my idea would be that a player would get, let's say, 500 starting XP, and they would also start with a modifier which will reduce the cost of certain doctrines and perhaps increase the cost of others. Then the military tree would be divided into, let's say, the more defensive part, more sustainability parts, more offensive parts, right, that you can choose through. They would not have to be necessarily mutually exclusive, but it would give more depth than it would be if it was just you pick this doctrine and you go with it, right? That would be my idea. But there's more thinking that needs to be done. But yeah. If you have any ideas on this, please voice them.
So yeah, currently it's just laid out much simpler, right? Where it's like choose your doctrine and then choose your starting type of tank. And then you can go deeper into the tree if you want. Like I said, like for medium tanks, I put under mediums that you can spawn the unique types of tanks, like the AA mediums or SPG mediums or tank destroyer mediums. Since like medium would be kind of like your flexible tree area where you can specialize your tanks, or you can go into your heavies and into your super heavies. It's pretty simple right now. And on the right side would be where we have elite unit spawns potentially.
Yeah,
where we have your.
And those spawnings would be tied to the type of nation that the player would choose.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I don't have much to say, because all of this just looks like get it in the game and let's start.
Yeah.
Have the community testing, right? Like
that's the best thing you could say, Tommy.
Yeah, it just sounds. It just looks like one thing I instantly feel is more fleshed outness, but you can't do that yet. You have to first see how it arrives, how it feels in the game, and
that's an important topic actually.
Yeah.
We have to talk about, because we talked about focus times as the game progresses, right? So that when you're in a heavy micro moment,
yeah,
you don't want to be busy with focuses, right? You don't want to have to be
Oh yeah, I see something. Yeah.
So how do we want to work around this? Because there's one idea, which is like you give more things in less but bigger focuses so that the player doesn't have to micro their focuses so much. Or the tree is very long and extensive, but you constantly have to look at it and click things. What do you think is more important?
I would personally think, number one, I want to hear what you guys think, but we talked last time about that the early phase, which is, I think, 4 focuses or something, right? The early phase is 4 focuses, and then the focus
It's not much.
So it's 60 days. We can The amount of focuses can change on the size of the focuses, because there's some 7s here, there's 14s, there's 21s, I think, depending on how powerful
Obviously,
they are.
something you have to look at balancing again. But one thing that I feel weird about instantly is how all these army focuses are 7 days. That's like too fast almost. Like,
Yeah, we can change all that, yeah.
Like, I'm spawning. Give me like 1 month and I spawn a shit ton of stuff, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Feels like 7 seems very short and too ADHD fast. Crazy.
I personally think that if you want to make the later game focuses longer, let's say perhaps 35 days or maybe even more,
Like
then
58,
we
we don't care.
Yeah, or 35, 70 days. We could go for the option that players get the starting XP, they pick their doctrine as they want, and then the longer focuses would be about the more in-depth, right? So it can be 35 days, and you get the tank of your choosing. You can go for lights, mediums, and heavies. You get some spawning, and you get the technology, right?
Yeah.
And then you can pick another 35-day focus, which will be for air. It will give you, let's say, some fighters, perhaps some chaos, and you can micro alongside it, right?
Yeah.
So I personally don't like the spawnings that would be for support equipment or for guns, because these are not as valuable as perhaps that air or for S tanks.
Yep.
So I think just having some starting stockpile of the basic necessities, being guns, artillery, support equipment, etc., would be better than having to do the focuses to get them.
And that would invalidate needing the focus to gain it if you give it to the player at the start.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Excellent. Okay, that makes sense.
Can I just ask, what's the design choice? Because I'm looking at the mod and the designers, you still cost XP, like to make a plain design.
Yeah,
Is
but...
that on purpose? What do you guys think about that? Or do you want them to? I would think it would be free, but what's your...
Wait, I think it should be free. I think we changed it to be free for designs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it changed, or no, maybe.
I don't have the
Okay, sorry.
yet.
Do you mean design for vehicles?
Yeah.
Okay, so we made the template designer free. I don't know about making vehicle designer free. That feels a little too zoomery. Like you can just.
Are you talking about the like? Yeah, I mean.
Like
I'm talking about the
air
tank
and tanks.
designer.
Yeah,
Tank
tank.
designer and the plane designer.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
The prices for tanks and fighters are quite low compared to the doctrines or anything else. So I mean, it's quite minor. It can be included. It doesn't have to be, especially if let's say all players have 500 starting XP. It's going to be maybe 30 XP spent on the designs. So
okay, well,
it's really not much. And especially if both sides are affected by this, it's not an issue, right?
It's balanced, yeah.
It's balanced.
So Nate, it sounded like you wanted to remove the focus that gives you a doctrine, and you'd rather just the players select it with experience.
Yes.
Can you go into that more? Because you didn't really explain why.
It would make the.
I want to work on this. I want to make this more beautiful. That's something I want to work on, like in my private time even. I want to make this a bit more detailed and beautiful, and a better picture and shit.
Instead of.
Might even want to hire an artist for a good picture.
You would have the opportunity to perhaps switch later on, and the military focuses would be more around perhaps getting more less supply consumption, getting more recovery rate, getting even getting like special attack in different terrains, so deserts, forests, hills. The focuses would be more in depth rather than just getting doctrine.
Would it be?
I feel like that would be interesting.
Would it be if you pick one of these ideas and you get like, oh cool, I've got a desert bonus, but then the other guy picks plains bonus, then you're locked into those ideas. Would that create?
Obviously, you will not be able to place against bots. Use your head. Come on, man.
You know what's the
They
word?
don't have mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
It can be just something
I
like.
guess if it's just a little buff, there's no negative to it. I guess that could be fine.
Like the entire military tree should be, it should be time intensive, meaning low focuses will take long, but they will benefit you in different ways, right? Like you would preferably want to finish the entire military focus tree, but you don't have time. You have to do the industry focuses, you have to do the air focuses, And once you get into the late game, you know, you will have the entirety of the military tree finished, basically, and you will be overall, or both sides will be overall stronger, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get that.
One thing I always want to urge is, which makes our job easier, is we should design the mod in a way that a lot of decision making and build is given to the player, right? So we just support their builds with focuses, so we don't have to think too much, we don't have to balance too much, and these players have a lot of freedom in designing whatever they want. And the way you do that, right, is industry, military factories, that's how you give them some stuff. And I just want to kind of say, we don't have to go even too deep with the focuses just yet. As long as we give a cool focus tree and the tools for the player to build whatever build they want, we're on a good side as developers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The whole thing of this mod, in my eyes, is Hoi 4 without the chaff. Is Hoi 4 stripped back, bare, just go in. No this, you know, all this extra crap. Just get in and have a good fight.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can cut that there and go to next topics. One thing I want to talk about real quick, if we talk about it on focus tree, is I'm always a fan, and I think guys will agree with me, of choices. The players have to make choices the whole time, right? Like in the Speed 5 mod, they choose their class, they chose their nation, and then there wasn't much choices left. This is now my class. And I think in this mod we should really just give the players a lot of choices so they can create whatever they want. And one thing I wanted to talk about, I was thinking about, is what do you call this? If you look on stream, this stuff. Giving players choices, what to spend political power on.
Ideas.
Like,
advisors.
What advisors? Oh, do I want to get an industry rush? Like, interesting stuff here. Balanced stuff, though, right? That will need good balancing. Someone like Nave would be active there. Like, I'm a player, and I'm like, oh, the war's about to start. Should I put my political power into a 10 armor guy or a 15 defense guy for infantry? That is an interesting thing. What do you guys think about that? Should we do that in the near future? Should we do it after the focus tree?
It's planned after focus tree, basically.
I think, definitely after focus.
Because I was thinking, if the focus we just looked at is in the mod, and then we have that, the value to political power means something, it does something. I think then we have a first perfect option to give out, to start promoting and start really testing and gathering ideas. What do people think? What can we improve? Or do you guys see any other point other than focus tree and political power decisions that would be needed for a good core of a first really good playable version? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What else would be missing?
In my eyes, you could probably get away with just doing just a focus tree.
Yeah, sure.
But I see what you're saying with the ideas as well. It would be pretty well rounded in that case. Personally, I think you could definitely do it with just focuses and ideas. Definitely.
Yeah, like the goal is to always have that stuff. The question is, when do we do it, right? That's the issue. It's the priority, right? And I don't think it's core to need them, since they're just modifiers. They're not like core, like, you know, like the focuses are like core gameplay. It's like I'm choosing my army, I'm choosing my industry. That's super important. These are more minor in regards to that, right? It's like, oh, I want 10% construction, I want fuel gain, I want this. But it's important to have that choice, like you're saying.
We could,
for sure.
Theoretically, we could also do. We don't necessarily have to have the manpower, because I know manpower is going to work slightly differently. We're just going to give each player like a set amount of manpower. We could probably even, possibly in the future, just rework the conscription laws into something else.
Yep.
That's why that's what I've done in a couple of my mods, and it goes down quite well. People tend to like that.
Yeah.
It just makes it so conscription laws are actually mean something.
Yeah,
and possibly
absolutely.
even the industry as well.
By the way, Tommy, just for an example, if you go to the political tab on the Excel sheet, I have filled in a bunch of things. I was getting a list of cool people we can put, but like we're not at that point yet. All the way at the end.
Oh shit! Oh damn! Oh shit! Oh damn! Look at that. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys realize this, but speaking of manpower, if someone ever wants to do the weird doctrines where you get manpower, they don't actually work because you don't actually have manpower. So you'd have to.
Oh, that's a good point. We'll have to change that. Yeah, there's some of the. It's
the worst doctrines in the game, but
the manpower ones, isn't it?
Good
The mass assault gives you
Clever stuff. It's good.
what's it
also
called?
the,
Conscription. Yeah,
mobile warfare one.
yeah, that's true. We'll change that to something else. Maybe just like
That's good. Yeah.
Or perhaps the promises can just be have some manpower, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
just
could also
change
literally
it to plus like 100,000 manpower or something.
Give you
Because there is
manpower.
also a supply aspect to manpower. So depending on the population of the state, you get some base
We have to
supplies as well.
be careful though, because
Good chat. If anyone in chat has any cool ideas, something to add, there's a lot of retardation chat, just Fabian being retarded. If anyone has anything cool, we're always open.
full time is getting
It can
manpower
be
every
broken
time.
then.
Yeah.
How can you do
We'll
that?
have to.
Could we? I just want to ask this right quick. Could we just revert it more to what like the vanilla system is? Because we altered it, and that's why it is where it is, right? Like we could put it back and just make sure it works with the map. No.
The
Yeah, I
population.
mean,
Totally.
we could very easily,
No idea what they're talking about.
but the issue is that there's going to be a lot of duplicates, and it might not be a bit dodgy, a bit unbalanced, stuff like
Wait,
that.
which ones do you mean?
I mean for the man. I'm talking about manpower, not about
Yeah.
ideas.
Oh, manpower. Oh yeah,
Just,
yeah,
can
sure.
we just revert it a bit so that it works with the doctrines as they are instead of changing the doctrines to fix it?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
We would have to realistically add manpower to all the states, which
Yeah.
I suppose
Is
could
that-
be done.
Yeah, it's not impossible, right?
No, it's quite
It's
simple,
harder.
really.
Changing the doctrine takes 5 minutes, and changing the thing.
Thank you, Beastman.
Right, but
Yeah.
but then we end up
Yeah.
with two altered systems when we.
I will need to find an artist to make an official picture for this. Like, also a loading screen picture. That's something I need to do. I mean, these guys are developers. I suck at that. I don't know shit. But what I can do is I can pay for some good art, man. I need to find a good artist.
Have the same manpower modifiers by default, and then things like their doctrines change it, i.e., like pop growth or whatever it is. Like that sounds good to me. I don't know.
Yes.
It would, because honestly, going in and adding population to all the states, it's not a massive job either.
What do you think of the idea of cities of interest? Like, if you can control a region, something cool happens. I think that's already in the game. If you get control of a certain region, you get resource bonuses. We still have to fix the resources. They are not correct, I think. That's already a thing. The more you take a region, you first of all take the industry. They put industry in. Look, they put sieves in the beginning, which is beautiful. This one doesn't have sieves, so that seems wrong. This one should have sieves. So if I take a region, I get industry and I get resources. I think that's already pretty good. I made you some art. Oh god.
This we've get into the debate that might be just harder to balance, but we'll see.
Well, I think the thing with this mod is
Thank you, Henioff.
it's been, you
No,
know,
because
hard to balance.
yeah, but if you have it like evenly split, then I guess it would reward a much more aggressive play. You take everyone's manpower before they like the build up
Yes.
industry just lose all their manpower.
That's
instantly.
true. Oh, that's a
That
good point.
goal-
Yeah.
That is the goal too, though, right? Like we want people to be aggressive. We want the games to be fast. It's
Yeah.
not about playing slow is nice, but it
You're-
shouldn't be the dominant play.
I'm just feeling that like the build-up industry is already the worst choice, and they just make it worse.
How do you come back if you lose a territory, just like in normal Hoi 4? What do you think?
Well, but also we would weight the populations towards the back
Yeah.
states, so there would be the ability to stay in the game. Like we wouldn't have half your population be in the center of the map, right? But you're right though. Like that is the idea: is that you lose states, you lose power, and you have to find ways to come back, right?
I guess.
And we're gonna the idea is like obviously aggressive military industry is gonna be the strongest at the start. The idea is we're gonna buff the slow one so that it finds ways to win on its own, right? Like we give it huge construction buffs, we're giving it huge civ
Also-
buffs so that it can build a massive industry that's double the size of the mill side.
Indirect buff is also giving a stockpile, right? Like having a large starting military will offset the starting mills.
There should be focus system at station defense. Yes, I agree. But the goal right now is to get a basic focus tree out, and we can start fucking letting you guys play the mod, and we can start working on it, right?
Okay. So well then we're at it. The one thing we talked about is, do we go away from doctrines being a national focus or not? And I want to hear a consensus from everybody then, so that we can either remove them, or we keep it the way it is and we build this.
Honestly,
What I'm understanding is, tell me if I'm wrong here. This is what I understood it. The whole reason we did the 4 starting focus is to balance stuff. Like, for example, Master Assault gets more than Superior Firepower. If you give each player 500 XP and they choose themselves, it would mean they all just choose Superior Firepower again. You know?
Yes,
Unless we
however,
change
there
Superior
will also be no. I don't think we should be changing doctrines. However, there should be also a starting modifier which will alter the costs of doctrines. So, for example, the Superior Firepower doctrine can be 20% more expensive. Mass Assault can be 15% cheaper, just some
You could just
random
make it a
numbers.
decision you take at the start of the game.
I think decisions are not necessarily like.
No, but if you just don't want
just-
to wasting time on the focus, just have the.
It won't be a focus. It'll be starting idea. You can start with an idea, which will just reduce the costs of.
A good thing
or
about
increase the cost
focus
of
is too.
actions.
I always have this viewpoint of entertainment of a caster on Twitch, right? And that the beautiful thing about focus is you can be like, let's take a look at the focuses here. Oh, he is going for mobile warfare, and it takes 14 days, so you can talk about it. You can talk to your co-caster. What do we think about this? You know. I'm often against instant stuff like clicking a decision. Boom! I have mobile warfare because it's very hard
it shouldn't be.
to cast and hard to watch as a viewer.
That's a good point.
Like the idea would be that the nations will start with an idea that gives them different costs for different doctrines, and at the start of the game, the person can just run through the doctrine, and you can see this person went for this, so we can hypothesize that they will be going for this military offense focus is built, right? They're going for the aggressive industry, so they're trying to rush the opponent.
Yeah. Also, because Pixel is saying events that you choose, that would be very bad for casting. If the player gets events where he chooses everything, the casters don't see that, and the viewers don't see that. Yeah.
I think one thing that we, we were discussing it, that we want to steer away from events because it's bad for micro anyway. If you're trying to micro stuff and then just these events popping up in your face, like
events.
Oh, it's just happened. Oh, you've captured this. Oh, it's like don't care. I just want to play.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
point.
the only events will be for your picks, your bans, and then if you won via points or you won via capitulation. That's the 4 events.
Okay.
So we do want to go with experience, and then you have a bonus to whatever doctrine, or each doctrine has a specific modifier to make it more or less expensive.
It will be just one national spirit,
Yep.
which will set the doctrine costs for all the doctrines. So it's basically a modifier, which will make, so to be specific, it will make superior firepower 15% more expensive. No, let's say 20% more expensive. So,
Nave, do you think this approach is more easy to balance than doing what we did with the 4 focuses, where one gets more? Which one of these two do you think is more balanceable?
I think the national spirit one, because you can just adjust the numbers, right? It will be
it's just
20%
one
more
number.
expensive. So you will pay 120 XP, not 100. If that's not enough, it can be even 50% more expensive. So 150 XP, right, instead of 100. And then it's just a few percentage difference, but it will make a quite big difference.
Let's write it down right now. So,
so to be specific, right? The starting XP could be 300.
Okay. Yep.
And let's say to make it make sense, SF can be 50% more expensive.
Let's change it. SF would be the one we don't touch at all because the other ones just get bonuses.
Okay, sure.
So what are our bonuses to mobile warfare? What's the bonus to battle plan, and what's the bonus to assault?
It can be wrong right now. It's gonna probably get changed anyway. It can be.
That's true. It's
not
your best
perfect.
first guess. Yes, exactly.
Nave?
So then what's going to make you pick that instead of SF?
Well, if you want to focus on tanks, right? Like mechanized assault, the 10% speed, 20% breakthrough on tanks. Like the early doctrine is also important.
But why doesn't anybody pick that in Speed 5?
Because the mod didn't allow for a good tank construction, right?
Right, which
like
we will with our next focuses, right?
Which we will allow with the tank spawnings and...
Oh my
Don't they
god.
need buffs then?
Mass assault definitely needs a buff, right?
Yep.
However, there's it's a slippery slope, because on the far right of mass assault you have guerrilla warfare, which gives you guerrilla tactics, which
That's just broken, right?
which is very strong tactic. And so then you can come along build, like a player will spam air, they will spam fighters, cast, and they will go mass assault and just roach, right? So they will spam infantry, they will spam air, and they will win in this quite boring way, right?
Yeah.
So I need to crunch these numbers myself. I need to ponder about it, right? So I can't really give you any rough numbers, but I can guarantee you after this meeting is done, I will think of something.
That's good then. If you can give me these numbers, I'm gonna put a question mark and a percentage sign, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we just fill those in, and then so we're gonna remove the doctrine choice, and it's just gonna go straight into the equipment choices, and then we can also have a little section for defense or offense or environment, right? For like hot versus cold or whatever stuff like that. And is that what you want to do too? Terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Or do we want to? My idea was that we had that for command. The focuses necessarily, but good.
That's something to certainly think about. But the layout of the tree, would be offense, defense, and sustainability, right? So for offense, of course, you would have attack, breakthrough, recovery rate. For defense, you would have defense, entrenchment. I mean, maybe even planning, could be. And for sustainability, you would have supply consumption. You could have.
What do you think, Chad? What do you guys feel? What should be added? Thank you, Don't Steppo.
Have attrition.
State names.
Attrition,
State names.
Okay, I'm going over doctrines right now to think as well.
Oh shit.
Because like in League of Legends, right, you have a power spike on a certain level, right? So certain champions are very strong at level 6, maybe level 11, etc. And the same is for Hoi for Doctrine as well. Superior Firepower has very early power spike that they get even the first Doctrine, and then like 4 and 5, which gives 25% soft attack for super companies respectively, right? Mass Assault doesn't really have a power spike until like maybe that Guerrilla Warfare and later on in the battle. Grand Battle Plan is quite strong in the early game because of the entrenchment. Max Plan is decent, and Mobile Warfare is well-rounded start. So, but there's just more thinking that has to be done. We aren't going anywhere with it.
My question a bit with the offense, defense, and supply is like, I know supply isn't, but offense and defense, isn't that kind of covered by your doctrines? In a sense, not all of it. I know there's more modifiers that we could tap into.
I'm not sure.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I don't think you get any defense in the doctrines, if I am honest.
Well, there's one called defense in depth, but not really. Yeah.
No, you get some in the GBP. So, like it's not it's nothing major.
Okay.
Maybe like core defense.
Core defense is something to think about, but like it's
weird. I mean, core defense in this mod is effectively just defense, right?
Your side of the map, right?
If your side of the map, I guess. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
That's a stat we were thinking about using for the build-up side as well. If they needed a little buff on defense or something.
Kind of the aggressive player counter.
Anything, I think the build-up should get core attack, because then they can counter attack later on.
Yeah, exactly that idea though. Core attack,
The core defense would make it so the aggressive can't push, which is the whole point that the aggressive should push.
True. Good point.
If the idea with the build-up is that he might have to yield a bit of ground, right? And then with the core attack, he can then counter attack. And do a Stalingrad.
Yep.
Yeah, but like then the issue with core attack is that you might become unkillable. If it's like even 10% core attack is quite a lot, and it might result to not dying ever, right? Because you will be unkillable on your core territory.
Yeah, we can be careful with that one, but it's an idea.
So I wouldn't necessarily go for anything.
This is something obviously we have a lot to talk about, guys. That's going to be interesting. But right now, let's focus on what's important.
It is. It depends on time, right? So it's like 70-day bonus that you can get to drive out the invaders, right? Something like that. Like if it's something one-time decision, temporary buff that you can utilize once in the game, that's all right.
I do
But
like
if
the
it's
idea.
permanent-
Sorry, I do like the idea of having, a few temporary sort of measures that you can have, like one or maybe 2 time use that's like, oh, he's just used his core attack, his temporary core attack bonus. Oh, nice. Oh, he's just used his extra build speed for 10 days or whatever.
I think
I
we
feel
talked
like
about
that's
that.
something we
Bjorn
can
was
do.
talking about card decisions, right?
Yeah.
Which were like timed, kind of like, oh, for the next 30 days you
For
have a
decisions.
bonus.
Yeah.
That'll give a boost for PP. as
That
well.
is something I clearly see in this political power thingy, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep. The political menu. Yep.
Like, I always had this dream of, like, political powers like minerals in StarCraft. And the player has to always ask himself, okay, I finally got the 100 political power. It took a while. I need to really make the right decision. Do I want to take an advisor for 10 attack? Or do I want to take a temporary attack bonus that I only have for 30 days?
Yeah, you have a very
Something
important
like that.
objective in front of you, and you want to win this battle, right? Like, there's little things like that. Yeah.
So
And that is
that,
why
I had
yeah.
on one of my previous mods, we were talking about the timed bonuses thing. So what I had was you get a time bonus, and you have like, I mean, let's say you're at like 50% capitulation progress, and you can take a time bonus, and then you have to get to 35 or something. Like you have to push back, or you get even worse debuffs.
Oh, see, yeah.
I see that. I see that, but stuff like this,
It could make
to
it too
me,
scripted.
I know what that means. I know, but I always feel stuff like this makes everything too complicated. I always feel like just let them play. Just
Sure.
if he lost
Yeah.
something, he lost something. Fuck him.
No, you're right. There is an element of this, right? We're losing the picture a bit, but it has to be simple too. We're not trying to make the most complicated.
I think stuff like
44.
this is always for, like, later stuff.
Yeah,
It's like hidden
absolutely.
mechanics, right? And hidden mechanics are not necessarily very.
Yeah, it's not
even
something
though
we
it
do now.
even though it enhances the experience, it makes the mod not as how's it called? Not as
accessible.
accessible precisely, right? Because it's like we call it hee modding, right? Like it's something that you have no idea about that you have to experience firsthand to find out, right? And I wouldn't necessarily go into it. Like focus tree, you can see, you look at it, it's there, right? It's not nothing that special. Decisions, likewise, if they're not hidden, you can look at them. Oh, this gives this gives this. But if there's a decision that gives you a mission that you need to do this, and you have to read through it and then understand what it does, I wouldn't necessarily go for it.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. Going back to our kind of goal is a streamlined game, right? Completely, you know, like a freaking arrow.
Yeah, keep it simple. Yeah.
Streamlined.
Yep. Okay. So if we take the army that we currently have and we add these 2 or 3 columns for more army, more offense, more defense, or more supply, and we kind of fit that into what we have already, are we happy with what it looks like as like a base starting army focus tree?
I think so, because the perfect thing about this is just you have to get it going. You have to. What we're doing right now is theory crafting, and once players play it, this focus tree, then everything comes so much clearer. We go out of the fog.
Yes. Yes. Okay, then I don't have a problem adding that one part. That can take an hour maybe to get the numbers right with Nafe. We'll make that little part, we'll add it, and then we confirm air is good too. But then we can just move on to the next step, which is building. Which I agree, we have to build this now. Enough talk, kind of, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about air now.
Sure. I'm just gonna ask someone real quick. I think I know a good artist. Let's take a look at air. 1 sec.
Ooh. Yeah, just the thing on the on like state names and stuff like that. I've been thinking about what we want to do for that. I guess we can talk about it later. Let's focus on it now.
Yeah, I feel like there's, I don't know how we call it in English, but there's these little mini things. Get a picture for a loading screen and the mod. Nice portraits, party names, the names of states, names of cities. But that's like little, that's not really important, but it's like little bonus thingies.
Yeah, we have an example too. Lou has been thinking about adding like trees and art for the last 5 years, so
Yeah, I have.
we're waiting for that too.
I've just been like, one day I'm gonna add trees to the mod. One day I'm gonna add hills.
like little
One day
thing,
we'll
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, the air tree. I'm so sorry. I have to ask again. Did we conclude that the doctrine is a focus, or it's early game? Just you do it. What was it?
It will be a national spirit
Yeah. Okay.
with starting XP, and then player can decide what they want to
And
spend.
the
same
question
thing
is,
for air.
do we just want to do the same for air? Makes total
I think
sense.
so.
Yeah.
The trick is we're just gonna have to, instead of, because you see there's 400 fighters for each doctrine, we're just gonna put that as a stop. You spawn with them, then fuck it. We'll make it simple. You spawn with the fighters so that everybody has the same amount to start.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So
Okay, so yeah, let's pretend that same thing.
Just one thing. Just because I've run into I've come across a couple of times with the pre-BBA, post-BBA. Would fighters be in terms of a small airframe? Because small airframe encompasses in Bible alone a couple of types of aircraft, like naval fighter, CAS.
Yep.
So 400 fighters in pre-Bible alone, is that going to be like divided between fighter, CAS, nav, or?
No, so fighter is specifically the fighter within the light airframe, not.
Okay, so
CAS,
we're gonna
naval.
literally give them.
Yeah.
We're gonna give them like a fighter design, and then do a bunch of fighters. All right, cool.
I also like the idea of giving everybody the same fighters because it also triggers micro. If someone is like a Dankus is lazy, I don't make any air, I'm just gonna do anti-air. But hey, you have 400 fighters on stockpile, you have to use them, you have to micro them. I like that.
Yep.
Triggers.
And it's not
micro.
about your design at the beginning. Everyone has the same design. It's about where you put them, right? It's about are you using your command power for the bonus for combat and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then going from there, once again, we want to focus on the freedom of the player. Going from there, the player should be able to take certain researchers and focuses to design their own airplanes slowly. What I liked in Speed 5 is how in the early game it was all about fighter design. Who designs what fighter, how many do they build. It was very fighter based. The fighters decide these esports games a lot.
Yep. But we could do that, but to make that work, we would have to give a production bonus to fighters during the build-up phase.
I feel like, I don't know, having the game dependent on one feature, kind of makes me a bit like, I don't know, unless it's like a thing that is done in comp Hoi 4.
This might be something that Nafe could get into. We had a discussion once about how air superiority works and CAS, Nafe. I don't know if it's something you want to bring up, and it might be a good moment now to talk about it.
So in regards to overall air mechanics.
Yeah. Remember we talked about how like the percentage of air superiority you needed is like a flat number in vanilla, and they changed that in a lot of competitive mods so that it's like 30. It's like more lenient.
So the way I understand vanilla is that close air support flies only if you have over 50% air superiority over your enemy. This means that only one side will be able to fly CAS, while the other will be left in the dust. Basically, winner takes all mechanic, right? So if you have 40-60% air superiority, the 60% will have CAS, the 40% will not. Now, how air superiority works, it basically inflicts a defense and breakthrough debuff onto the enemy, depending on how much superiority it is and how many fighters. I think the maximum debuff, it can be like, I don't know the precise numbers, but it can be over 40%, if I'm not mistaken, around 40% minus defense and breakthrough. So certainly, air is a significant part of Hoi 4 mechanics, right? And it needs to be made right, because if someone just spams air, and I mean, if both sides spam air, then that's fine, I guess. But yeah.
It's a good part of competitiveness, aka where do they put the air and what kind of air they design. I would imagine that both players have 400. I'm always thinking as a caster, so we're looking at them, and then it's like, now both players are researching MG2, survivability studies, etc. Let's see what design they come up with. Then they have a design, and then the players decide how many of my mills do I want to put on this air. One thing I'm already feeling, because I always like to run these scenarios in my head, how players will play. And one thing I always learned in esports is everybody just rushes air like a motherfucker. I can already feel like someone rushes aggressive mills and just goes mad on air. But this mod has a lot of great potential to counter this kind of shit, which is beautiful.
One thing you've pointed out is that there are many air zones, right?
Yeah.
And it depends on how you micro your air. If you focus all of your fighters in this air zone and your opponent doesn't, then you can achieve that air superiority in this way. So there are 4 there are 4 frontline air zones in which the air can be put, which is quite a lot to disperse the air, right?
Very
and
nice,
you
yeah.
put the tanks, you put the air in there, and now even though your opponent has more air, you can concentrate all of your air in one air zone and achieve superiority that way. So I think this could be more of a skill issue for players rather than the game mechanic issue.
Yeah.
Just to put this out there.
Yeah, the decision of having many air zones is beautiful. Very, very nice.
Wait.
But I feel like personally, we can't or shouldn't even talk that much about the air focus tree, because the focus tree I see right now looks nice. Obviously, we're talking about there's no beginning ones. We do National Spirit. I just really have this feeling of, let's get this out, let's get it in the mod, and then work with that. You know, that's what I'm really feeling. And then we can start going into the oily stuff. You know?
No, for sure.
You know?
Like with the air tree, there is not much depth that you can go in there.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's the meta in banal combat, but the issue there that there might be is that everyone will go just for one air tree, and I don't think you can balance it around making one doctrine more expensive or cheaper. But yeah, it is what it is.
So in the end, the great question is, how do we enable both players to have an interesting and also balanced air war? The balance obviously comes from both players start with the same. That's kind of the balance part. And number 2, how do you make it exciting? And I think already it is exciting because of 4 air zones. That's beautiful. That makes it exciting. One interesting thing, though, as Chat is saying, and it's true, the question of logi bombing. Logi bombing is a very broken thing in Hoi 4. I think in the Africa map on speed 5, logi bombing was the one that always wins everything. And that is something we should look at. Maybe not now, but in the future. How do we handle logi bombing? And
yeah, it's a problem I've had as well. It's bloody, it could be ruinous, and it's not easy to deal with, to be honest. Without it requires very delicate tweaking, I found.
Well, perhaps you can remove the button.
Yeah, just straight up get rid of it.
Just remove the button and
See ya.
remove the
Question,
button.
I'm looking through the air doctrines now, and considering we don't have Navy, we're not gonna have Navy for a while. There's a lot of air doctrines that just don't do anything because they give naval bonuses.
Yeah,
Like,
we will have Navy in like a reasonable amount of time, so I don't think we should adjust too much for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just keep it for now, yeah.
Like, you're right, there will be some that will take a hit, and we just have to kind of eat that for now.
Yeah.
But it's a good call out. Good call out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good shot.
Yeah, I just really feel like I'm in the mod right now, and when this mod has kind of this focus tree, that's where the real work can kind of begin. I feel like.
Okay, so while we're on this topic and while we're talking about this, we can just get a little organized here about getting Roblox started on this. What does he need? Roblox, if you kind of think immediately, like, we've been transferring files, I believe, through Google Docs, right? Lou, maybe you can outline what we've been doing.
So in terms of focus files, they're small enough that I can just DM you over Discord. So I've got the main focus file, the ideas, and the localization. Off the top of my head, I think that's what you'll need to do the focuses,
you want me to
unless
do
there's
ideas
anything else.
too, maybe?
Well, only because they're linked directly to the
If
focus.
it's directly, if
Yeah,
it's
I
directly
need
tied, yeah.
Dynamic ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
I want to look at the workshop page, because I'm useless. I'm not a developer. I don't know shit. These guys are much more genius than me. I just want to see how can I help them out, and the way I can help is making pictures like this. I know some graphic people. That's something I can work on. You know, I want to make pictures like this. That's something I want to work on.
Yeah.
It might be something worth doing at this point.
Yeah, me and Dan had a chat about it at some point, and we were like, yeah, we might need to actually start doing this stuff now. I've never used GitHub myself, so I have no idea what it is, but happy to learn, happy to, crack on with that, because obviously, we've got more gamers in the team. It's getting a bit big. It's a bit clunky at times, I think. Like, if you change stuff.
How familiar are you, Roblox, with GitHub?
Marconi as a graphic person, I just texted him. I want to get Marconi's graphic person, or if not, I have real life graphic people, like high level stuff.
Like, I've never been ahead, so I don't know. I know how to add stuff.
I can look into it.
My version.
Do a bit.
You know, I'm thinking of something like this, World War II wallpaper. I'm thinking about, one thing I want to make crystal clear is, I want, this sounds weird, I want a de-Tommification of this mod. Flunson is texting me. No, we can do better than that. I just want to be honest. Thank you, man, but we can do much better than that. In terms of this, I'm feeling something like this. This is... Obviously, I need an original. We can't just copy that. I'm feeling shit like this. But it needs to be an original, you know? Not historical ones, obviously. That would not be good. AI... What is that? AI art? I'm feeling something like this. But I will have to make an original. And as I was saying, I'm planning to do a de-Tommification of this mod. I don't like it's all about me. I don't like that I'm here. I want this mod to be for everyone, even TommyKay haters. I want everyone to play this. I want the whole world to understand this is 101 Paradox Esports. And I want to put my name a bit out of it, because I think that reaches more people. Because people that hate me, they're not going to play this because, oh, it's TommyKay.
Yeah, so I can't add you to the mods because Björn like owns it per se, and only he can add new contributors and stuff. So
Bjorn, are you here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you make sure to get Roblox added to the both mods?
Sure.
Cool. Yeah, we'll get that set up.
Nice.
Roblox, when you look at this focus tree, how long do you think it'll take you to build?
A day. Like if I work on it a day,
how much time do you have in the
I
future?
can do it in a week. I can do it this week probably if I find the time.
That's like a reasonable amount of time for you, a week?
Because listen, the hard part about making focus trees from my experience is actually like deciding what every focus does, not actually coding it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So once you guys already decided here everything, so I think I could do it in a week.
Yeah.
The trick is, the one thing you will have to kind of figure out, but we can help, is especially like building slots and these sieves and mills, which province to put them in. Generally, if you look at the map, it's, priority goes to center, back, and then up and down in the back. So that, because those are like your safe cores, right? Like we want to have most of your industry in the safe place.
I think there are a couple of focuses in there already that I did previously that have a few states that have stuff in. So just go off that if you're in doubt.
Okay.
See. Like I'm looking at the focus tree that's in the mod currently, and it's all in the back and in the middle.
Yeah.
It's essentially follow that same kind of guideline you see there in terms of weighting for the provinces. Okay. Okay, that's great. So that's ironed out. We have the tree now. We're gonna add a couple bells and whistles. I'll let you know when we update it. With Nafe will do another numbers pass, and then we'll move forward. That's great. Now, do we have any other topics while we have Tommy here? Do we have another like half an hour? What do we want to do? What's up?
Yeah, I just feel like it's slowly leaving my grasp. I don't know shit about developing, and you guys are doing a great job. And yeah, Nafe knows more about blanks than me. You guys know more about developing than me. I can't tell you much.
Right.
The only other thing that we have that's like we could chat about is like some map stuff where we did have, like, I made some plans for updates to terrain, but we don't have to push it. We didn't really figure out if we were going to do it or not, or when we were going to do it. I don't want to push too hard too. Like, I'm not trying to force us to do anything either.
Yeah, it also sounds like something for later.
Yeah, it's for next updates in the future.
Yeah, I think where I can help a bit as the idiot here is what I'm gonna do this week is I'm gonna look for an artist to make a loading screen and mod page picture, and yeah, we can look over the mod page like a bit, make it more interesting.
Add to your list, Tommy. We need a name.
Name for the mod?
Yeah, we need a name. Like, I have ideas like, Theaters of War or something, but like it's, I don't know, like it's hard to come up with.
And I think something that is very interesting that kind of has gotten my brain a bit right now is next Friday, I mean, we're done with the focus tree for now, we can really talk about what political power can give you. And what I really liked is, unfortunately I turned it already off, you sent me that list, which was beautiful.
In Excel, yeah.
Of all the advisors and stuff. I'm pretty sure
I made a list.
I have this fantasy, I just got a fantasy from that in this mod, every player has the same as the other, right? Nothing is weird. And
yes.
I could really imagine this cool thing where you have famous advisors, which you did here. You have famous people, like you can take Heiz Guderan and you can take Lazar Gaganovic. You have these known advisors and companies, and they give cool bonuses. That sounds like something very funny.
I tried to get the coolest ones. I tried to get the ones that were like players will want to pick, not just like some shit.
It's like in this mod you see the best of what Hoi4 has to offer. That's really cool. That's a very cool idea.
Okay, cool.
That's very, very cool. Should totally do that. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. I mean, it wouldn't take that long for us to put these in as well, right? Like someone else can work on this.
Just pluck them from vanilla, pretty much. That's what I did for the generals. It's not difficult.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and obviously generals is interesting. Making players think about what general they want to take. That's always interesting.
Yes. Okay. This is actually the perfect last topic, I think. I talked to Nafe about it. How do we balance the generals? Because obviously attack is the most important modifier. So most players will always pick the one with the highest attack, right? I think that was the idea, Nafe.
Yes, that is the idea right now.
Okay,
so
so
the instant solution will be that every single general starts with 1-1-1-1, but one general is Desert Fox, one general is Forest, blah 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 blah.
Exactly. That's what I want to do. Is we give them cool traits, but they all have the same stats, and you have to grind the XP up. I think that's great. Does everybody agree?
For example,
on that?
the player who chooses Desert Fox focuses the south lane a bit more. You know?
Yeah, and we tie it to like, oh, the Russian guy, you know, like, oh, they won Stalingrad, so they get urban warfare, so they're very good.
And once again, I'm a huge. What I want most from this mod is to trigger good players microing. And if you have these kind of generals, a good player has one general for the south, one general for the middle, one general for the forest attack. Like a bad player uses only one general. A good player uses different generals.
Yeah, and we could have two different types of desert generals. Like one is an armored desert general, one's a infantry desert general. We can do that, all that stuff.
What do you think about that, Nate?
Do we want to have the generals like you can only pick one and then later you get another one, or you just want to have all of them from the start?
I think currently is like everyone has everything.
I mean, currently of course, but later on.
I'm not sure.
Okay,
like,
the question between
like you might have a guy that's like, oh, I want to push south, so I'm gonna take the desert general, but then he's weaker in the north.
The interesting thing about the future is keep the generals simple like this, and then later when we do our nations updates, where people can start picking nations, that's where these generals become far more.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You know,
yeah, okay.
When you pick Russia, you get Chirikov and Zhukov and all these cool guys.
And that lets us kind of funnel these players into playstyles as well that fit their nation as well, right? Like
one thing I want to point out for the generals. The question whether you want to split up your army between 3 generals or just have them under one is one thing to consider is that one general with 50 divisions will grind faster than 3 generals with 15 each. And with this, let's say you have Rommel, who is 1-1-1, level 1, he has Desert Fox. Well, he can also grind Ranger, Urban, Hillfighter later on as well, especially if he has the entire army under him. So it's more complex than having the generals split up, especially since you can use the command order, the garrison order, which will give you a more unit capacity as well.
Well, what about this then? What if we provide terrain buffs, but we don't let you grind terrain buffs?
Sure, that's possible.
Just an idea. I'm just thinking out loud here.
That's
like,
a great.
That's a you know, because you said adaptable is really broken, right? If they get adaptable, that's the best general, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we kind of lock you out from it. Just say like, hey, this is a Desert Fox. He is the Desert Fox, and that's it. You know, just an idea.
Yeah, that's certainly a way of doing things.
Okay. That's actually a good idea. Yeah.
However, it is still quite likely that people will be tied to one general only. So, depending on the amount of tiles,
but like we said, right? As we test, we'll try and find solutions, right? But good call out, so.
Perhaps now this might be a bit mental. When you get a level 2 general, you can then click and get another level 2 general.
No, is that Roblox speaking? It's Roblox, right?
That was Lou.
Oh, Lou. I just always think these suggestions are just. I mean, you're one of the main devs. It's just overcomplicating things as a developer, right?
Yeah.
You just make your own job harder.
This is why I just dev. I don't make the ideas. These guys make the ideas.
Tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do.
Just put the bit of paper in front of me and I'll make it.
Okay,
well,
I think
thing
we're
is,
pretty
right,
good for now, right?
Yeah, the beautiful thing is once you have this basic good mod that works, then you can put the cherries on top. You can think about stuff like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's so easy, like with me especially, like it's so easy to get distracted with stuff. But with this, you just gotta stay focused in. Don't get distracted by the chaff. Don't let the scope creep, you know?
Yeah, the scope creep. Okay, cool. Well, I think we've got all of our next steps. I think we're ready to go for the next big focus update. And hopefully, if possible, Roblox, we can have that by next Friday and maybe kind of kick it off. Maybe we use next Friday for Tommy and Nath to play a game on stream. And that's like our kickoff for like our first build 1, you know? I don't know.
Shit.
Just an idea.
Can I just cast someone else, please?
Oh, you could cast someone else play, absolutely.
Yeah,
but we need to find someone to play against then.
I get Dankus or Pixel. terror of Singapore.
Someone who can actually play the game.
Someone who's not shit like us.
So not me.
We
Not
can
any
get
of
that.
us.
Okay. I will work on some art this week, so I can do at least a little bit.
Cool. I had some vague ideas about the portrait, but about the portraits for the leaders, but yeah.
What would be
I'll
really
focus
cool,
on the game.
I was like fantasizing, and I like entertainment. I'm imagining right now the Hoi4 International, right, with thousands of viewers, and we quickly make change to mod where the players are always the leaders of their parties.
Oh,
You know, like
but-
Dankus
okay.
fights
Yes.
Leonard, and they are literally inside the game as the leaders.
Okay. You'd
If
have
they
to have a
supply
national
us a
focus
picture.
that's just for them.
It's
If we
not even
supply
that
a
hard.
picture,
It's not even
yeah.
that hard. You just
Yeah, it's just
take
one
all the
picture. Yeah.
portraits, and you have a decision. You click at the beginning of the game
Yeah.
to change.
You choose your
Take
yeah,
it.
but then people choose other people's faces and it gets
Yeah.
weird. But it's a cool idea for sure.
Like if we get a picture of each of them beforehand, you can easily make the portrait and then add it in.
How many people? That's a interesting question about the league, Tommy. Like, how do you envision it? Because how many players are we expecting, and then how many players do we have to get pictures for if we go down this road?
This is
You
a
know,
great
like,
question. Spontaneously
Well, I think that can be just.
First,
thinking
we
right
want to do
now.
it for the start, Blake, for the top 8.
One thing I'm learning, especially from Speed 5, is Hoi4 is not as big as it was anymore. I'm even thinking the Hoi4 International will not be as big anymore. But if it's done well, it can be. One thing I clearly learned is the number one thing is there has to be money involved. Like, I'm going to try very hard to get a shit ton of prize pool in, because that's how you make players join. One interesting thing I learned in Sweden is all these players, for example, CMOPs, who won the tournament, they don't want to even play. He was like, I don't want to play. This is kind of boring. I just want to have fun with my friends. And we have to trigger people to comment. That's my job. I'm gonna take care of that. And yeah, the league, I'm imagining once we have the mod, once we can say this mod is ready to play, then yeah, everybody can apply. That's kind of where my job really starts. Everybody applies. We have a spreadsheet with all the players, and then there's a season of some months where people have to one-on-one each other or best of 3 each other, and then whoever has most rating or most wins, the top 8 get to the international, fighting for thousands of dollars. I can easily get $10,000 prize pool easy. That's no problem. Like, the winner will bring home 6K minimum, easy. That's how I will motivate players.
that's how you get people to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with sponsors
Money
and shit
talks.
and stuff. Yeah, that's unfortunately... No, it's not my money, Triple Nut. I would obviously do a whole month of donation. Every donation makes goes into the prize pool, and I know certain people that will donate a lot, and certain sponsors, and I'm gonna add money. I just realize if there's no big prize pool, this is all shit. It needs to be a big prize pool. Prize pool pulls views and players in. Yeah, then you have the league, which will be hard. We need moderators. I have to figure this out. The
The most
Marconi...
important thing is to create hype.
Yeah,
Like 50 Hoi4 International, there was a lot of hype created beforehand, before the tournament. It was YouTube videos, it was all the content creators, it was even the the armchair historian, right?
Yeah,
Who
we.
made, like,
That's dude. Trust me. I talked to Marconi, and he said, "Listen, Tommy, we either go all in or we don't go in at all, and we're ready to go all in.
definitely.
We're pulling
Very good.
all. We're gonna pay for advertisements. We're gonna pay for these Donald Trump impersonators. We're gonna ask every single content creator to make videos. We're gonna ask all the content creators to co-cast. We're ready to go all out. The problem is, first we need the product, the mod, to be almost perfect, so we can go in, and then." The way I want to motivate these league players to not just be lazy is the top 8 players will be... There will be no invitational. I'm not inviting people. The top 8 players of the league are the players for the international.
You have to earn it. You gotta win.
They have to earn it in the league, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Nice.
Before we head out, Tommy, I did have one question about Nave. If you could check your our DMs quick. But that's the one thing I wanted to call out.
I know exactly what you mean. I don't even have to check. Okay. Yeah, I'm on that tomorrow. I'm just super fucked in the head. But
Okay, I just
tomorrow
wanna
I
make sure.
will hopefully have time. But yeah, you guys are still getting paid. Don't worry. It's just my ADHD. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much
We're-
for everybody showing up.
Nice one.
Yeah, I just want you guys to know, you devs, me and Marconi were super 100% in to fully support this with money and hype and numbers and paying you guys. You have full support. You're not being forgotten here, and if there's anything we can ever do for you, you just tell us. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks
I
again.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, take
Okey-dokey,
care.
man. Thank you guys for your
Cheers.
time.
Good chat.
Bye.
Good
Love
chat.
you.
Yeah, guys.
And that was our